Hey, what's up guys, it's LEGO Hobo 910 here with another LEGO video. And in this video, I'm reviewing set number 75952, Newt's Case of Magical Creatures from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is actually from the first movie, but it only came out in the recent Harry Potter wave, which has a set from the second movie as well. Probably like, why'd they just release a set from the first movie? Well, it's because they didn't have the rights back when it came out. Now they have, rights to Harry Potter / Wizarding World properties. And I'm going to start off this review by reviewing these creatures individually, and then I'll go into the main build of the Suitcase, which can then unfold into a minifigure scale build. So let's get right into the review. Here is the first of our magical creatures, and this is a Thunderbird, specifically Frank the Thunderbird, which is Newt's Thunderbird. And it uses one of these elves, whatever the elf theme is called, dragons and other creatures from the elves line before, and then it uses these big wings, which I haven't seen since Lord of the Rings when they were used on the eagles. And first of all, overall this build just looks nice, as well as being fairly in the scale. Plus it also has posability, with ball joints on 2 places on the legs, as well as each individual toe being able to fold, which means you can, get into positions like this for when it's flying. You can open the claws and grab things, or just have them in a resting position to stand. And then also, the head has articulation there, as well as an opening and closing jaw, though in order to open it, you kind of got to get your fingernail under it. I also like the gold printing all over it, as well as these double-molded gold wings. Then it does have 2 stickers on the back, and it also has a place where you can sit a minifigure in the center, as well as then the wings can move up and down appropriately to flap, and then this can move up and down, the back tail section. Also, if you want, you can rotate these individually, though it is a bit hard at sometimes. And then you can also rotate the tips, as well as rotate right here at these middle kind of wings. Overall, there's really not much I can say about it other than just look at it and appreciate it, but it is a good build and adds a lot to the set, as well as the other 2 creatures. Now let's move on to the second creature. Our second creature here is an ACME, and I think this may be one of my favorites simply because of the posability of having all these different sections of ball joints, as it is a snake-like creature, which kind of reminds me of my giant snake video from a couple years back. Then it also has these 2 wings here, which I'm not sure where these wings originally came from. I think they may have also come from the elves theme, just like this head. It's the same head as the Thunderbird, once again with an opening and closing jaw, which is sometimes a pain to open. And then it does have different horns on the back, as it does have smaller horns. Then the wings flap up and down. And I also like the color choice of the medium and light azures here, and then just using the purple. What I don't like is the fact that they used light gray here. The dark gray I don't mind as much, especially since it's covered by a lot of these tooth plates, so you don't really see most of it except for where it connects. Plus it's also darker, so it just blends in better. But this light gray does kind of stick out, and I understand maybe they didn't want to remold this piece in purple for this one use, but I think a dark gray would have worked better. I don't like the light gray, though the end of the tail here does work fairly well. The one thing that I wish is if they made it just like even 1 or 2 sections longer, would just add a bit more, because right now it's kind of hard to get it to curl up and sit like this. And even then at minimum that requires like 3 sections, which leaves only 4, and then the head for actual posability above that. And also, as in the movie, this creature gets really long and takes up a huge amount of space. It would have made a lot more sense to have even 1 more section, and 1 or 2 more sections wouldn't even increase the price at all, so it's fine, this length, but I would have preferred it a bit longer, and though I understand why they didn't do it, because, it's already a bit repetitive building the same section 5 times, and it would have made it even more repetitive, as well as just adding something that most people really don't care that much about. Personally, I feel like you could have gotten a lot more posability out of it and a lot more out of it if it just had 1 or 2 sections. But overall, I do really like this, and it's my favorite of the 3 creatures from the set. Just gonna reiterate, wish it was longer. Though, to be honest, I could probably buy these pieces fairly cheap off of Bricklink and make it longer. So now let's move on to the third creature. Here is the third and final creature. This is the Rumpin, and I think this uses some of the most interesting building techniques, though it's also my least favorite, probably just because it's a lot less posable. Though, my favorite thing about this is the way that they did this front here, making it lean slightly, using one of these pieces here, and then connecting a stud onto that, which you can then connect onto there, to give it just that slight angle, which I think is really cool. Though, it does really annoy me that they didn't cover these studs with a tile. Like, there's no point in not covering them, and also that they left these studs, technicals all exposed. Though I do overall like the shaping of the back, and it is decently posable, not as posable as the other two. The back legs swivel here, connect with Technic pins, and then they also, all 4 legs bend at the tip on a click hinge there. These are actually connected on ball joints, but can really only swivel as the ball joints connect right up into the body. And then the head is on a ball joint as well, except once again it's very restricted because it runs into this and runs into that. So it doesn't have that much. You tip the head, in which case you can get a bit more posability, but then it just looks really stupid. I do really like the overall shaping of the build, though, especially across here on the head, using some of these pieces, and the way that they used the transparent orange for it kind of revving up to erupt. Getting the words erumpent and erupt confused, and it's hurting my brain. I also like the use of this rubbery spike. Looks pretty cool, and is big and menacing. And then also, if you really want, there is room to put a minifigure on the back of this one as well, right there, though the more likely riding position, realistic riding position, would be up here, but then they'd have to sacrifice this nice curvature. So if you really want someone to ride it, you can just kind of put them on the back here and then have them lean forward and hug it, though no one ever rides the Erumpent. So now that we've looked at the 3 magical creatures, let's look at the actual suitcase itself. Here is the main suitcase build, and this is a pretty interesting build, to say the least. The fact that it's the suitcase, which is supposed to be human-sized, but it's a little small. As you can see, it's not quite human-sized, but if they made it actually, realistic size, it'd be gigantic and would cost like $100. I believe the set costs $70 already, so if they were to make this any bigger, it would be a fairly expensive set, which I don't think they really wanted to do, since they already, have, for the whole Harry Potter line, they have the main line other than the $400 Hogwarts Castle, so they didn't want to put another one up high at that price range. So, I'm fine with the size. It does have these 2 gold pieces to represent locks, as well as a singular sticker here that says NS for Newt Scamander. And then the little dial which he flicks in the movie to make it muggle-worthy, so that way when you open it you don't see all the maps and you can't enter, it's just his luggage. And then around the side here, I really like the use of these, though there are some odd colors breaking through occasionally and little bits of holes there, and then also some odd Technic pieces there, which kind of expose it for, opening, and then you also see dark green there. This side isn't as bad, as it's just very smooth. This side has all the log bricks and odd colors. So, now let's open this up, because of course this opens up to represent the fact that you can climb inside his suitcase in the movie, and it's a whole world of magical creatures. So you just lift up the lid, which actually locks down fairly well using these brackets, as well as connecting out 4 studs, or 8. And then you can open this up, it just pops open there, and then you have a nice place to store things. The one thing that annoys me is that this is a loose piece, and normally I'm not too mad about loose pieces, but in a build like this, where it's meant to be picked up and wiggled around, having loose pieces like that is annoying. Then this also opens up as a ladder and then a roof, so that way you can, have the ladder for them to climb down from the minifigure sized suitcase into this giant world and into a shed. So now there's 3 main sections to this suitcase, the kind of center shed, and then these 2 creature care areas, so we'll start right in the center there. I'm going to just kind of open up the roof here so you can see it a bit better, and also fold back these sections, though it does kind of annoy me that the inside of the suitcase roof is really ugly, but then again, I guess it's really not that important, as it's not the main focus. So inside here, it's kind of hard to see, but the ladder leads down to a couple steps, and then there is a fair amount of detail here. There's, first of all, 2 small windows on either side, and on this one you have a picture of Lita Lestrange over the little desk there, and on that side there's a singular gold bar and a few potions bottles. And then that's about it going on for the center section here. though there is a bit of plant foliage to either side. And I also like the way that they use these cheese slopes to make the windowsills. And then they do have two large stickers to create the wood paneling. So now let's go on to the smaller of the two side sections right here. So this side section has this giant pile of dirt for, I don't know, creature, with then also some white flowers there. And there are some creature care tools here with the piece of meat, which I've noted before, as well as 3 clips to store various tools for taking care of creatures, one of them being empty, which you can put any of the numerous accessories in the set, which you'll, when I show you the minifigures in closer depth. And then you have a brush here for, obviously, you know, grooming the creatures. Then there's also, for some reason, a cleaver, which I don't know why he needs a cleaver, maybe for chopping the meat, though it does indicate some darkness for killing animals, which obviously is not going to kill the animals because they're, you know, basically his pets, even though a bunch of them are really dangerous. Though it is mildly dark, that's at least what comes to mind when I see the cleaver. I don't think of it immediately for chopping up the meat piece right there. But anyway, moving on. On the side here, we also have a small sink for maybe washing said tools or bathing small animals like the niffler here that can fit in the sink, or just, you know, cleaning his hands before feeding animals before and after. So now let's go look at the other side section. I personally prefer this side section over the other one, mostly just because it looks a lot better. First of all, we have a small little niffler cave here. You can tell by all the gold. The niffler can't actually really fit in there. You can just kind of set it beside it, though, if you would like. And then I also really like this kind of cobbled path. It looks very neat. Then you have a bit of kind of a base of a tree and some branches for a place for the bow truckle to fit, and I'll show you the bow truckle closer when we look at the minifigures there. And you can have this be kind of the tree for the bow truckles. You also have this little bucket here, which you can have as water to feed the animals or bathe them or whatever you want to imagine that bucket's for. And then we have a small ACME nest here, which has one of the egg pieces there, which was introduced in the Angry Birds line. And then it also uses this feathered collar piece for minifigures, which is then clamped down to look like a nest, which I think is a nice usage. The one complaint here that I have is, since this is supposed to represent an ACME nest, I think it would have been cool if they, like, had some medium azure snakes to represent smaller ACMEs before, you know, they grow super big. I think that'd be kind of cool. But overall, I prefer this side mostly just because it looks better. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for nice paths and terrain like this, as well as the tree. There isn't as much to do over here, whereas, you know, the other side, you have things to take care of the creatures and places for your minifigures to attend, whereas this one, you just kind of set the creatures around. But I personally prefer this one, also since it is the creature habitats. So now let's go look at the minifigures. So here are the first minifigures in this set. One of them not being a minifigure, it's just this little niffler piece, except I decided I'd put it on there because I can't really fit in Newt's hand as it's kind of his accessory. I'll just set it there. And then also Newt comes with another creature here, which is that representing the... Then also comes with his unique dark orange wand, medium nougat, which I think matches the hair fairly well. His hair in the movie is a bit, kind of curls over a bit to the side, but there really isn't a good hair, so I think using that's a fairly good representation. And this is different from the one in the Harry Potter collectible minifigure series, because in that one he's wearing his jacket. On this, he has the jacket off, and you just see the vest under it there, which is fairly well printed. And if we pop the hair off, you can see his face a bit better there. Then he also has a second face where he looks more concerned or shocked. And there's that. And now let's take a closer look at Jacob Kowalski over here. And once again, he is different from the one in the collectible minifigure series, as in that one he's wearing the suit. In this one, he is wearing against the Rumpant in the one scene in the movie. He also comes with a helmet, which I'll put on in just a second after we look at him. He also comes with an umbrella, and I think the torso printing is fairly nice. It really looks like it's going over the suit fairly well. If we pop this off here, you can see his face there, which is just kind of a neutral expression. And this one, you need to use the helmet for, because as you can see, it has the chin strap, which I don't think they should have put on, because then you can use both faces, because this is only shocked face. If if they didn't include the chin strap, then you can have a shocked face with the hair instead of just a disgruntled face. So I don't like the inclusion of the chin strap because it really limits your possibilities. You can see that the helmet works fine here on this face, but when you switch it to the reverse face and put the hair on, it would just look odd. I'm struggling to put this hair on for some reason. There we go. Right there. So I really don't like the inclusion of the chin strap, but otherwise, he is a fairly good minifigure. So now let's go look at the other two. For the final two minifigures, we have Tina and Queenie Goldstein, respectively. And my personal favorite is Tina here, in minifigure form. They have a black wand and a normal brown wand. And also she has a teapot with one of these pieces on to represent the lid for the ACME to go into and shrink back down to a small size. I like the hairpiece that they chose for her. It's a neat hairpiece, and once again, she is different from the one in the collectible minifigure series, because in that one she's wearing her blue suit, and Queen is different than the one in the collectible minifigure series, because in that one she's wearing the outfit that she wore while at home, and now she's wearing this pink outfit as opposed to the dark blue one. Overall, their printing on both of them is fairly good. There's nothing too great or too bad about them. They're just fairly simple prints. I do like the small printing for kind of the dark spots on her shirt there. That's her shoes on Queenie. And also, I wish that they would have maybe double molded it, because as you can see, or even triple molded it or something, which is something they rarely do, because she's kind of like wearing shorts with then shoes, so then there's that bit of skin there. Then again, if they double molded it, would they have had pink on top and then the tan on bottom? So I can see why they didn't, but I think it would have been a nice addition. Now if I pop off their hair pieces, you can see their faces there. And this is the main reason that I don't like Queenie as much, because her facial expressions just aren't as useful. She's smiling for the main face, and then she has that just kind of shocked look. But then their second faces, hers is a nice, just kind of annoyed face, and hers is way overly gleeful. There isn't just any normal expression for Queenie. It's either super happy or scared. So that's the main reason why I prefer Tina's minifigure over Queenie, simply just because of the facial expressions. Also, I like the uniqueness of the accessories here by including the teapot. Overall, I really like this set. My favorite part is probably the magical creatures, as they're the most unique and cool things. The cast of minifigures is fairly nice as well. And the fact that they managed to keep them separate from the collectible minifigure series variants, which are kind of the more generic, them in kind of the less, say, Tina, her collectible minifigure series. One is her kind of less used outfit, and this is the more used outfit. Though the Suitcase is also really unique and neat and provides a place for all these creatures to live, and kind of a whole play set to use, instead of it just being the creatures. Plus, it's also just a unique thing, being able to go from a human-sized Suitcase, not really, it's a bit on the small side, to then something for the minifigures, I think is really unique, and just the whole opening, it's a very unique set. So that's all I have to say about this set. That's all for now, and bye.